Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with Rise of the Multidimensional Human and Lightbody Academy. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. For those of you who are new, my name is Christina, and I am the Acceleration Expert. And we are here to discuss topics and issues that are significant for us way showers and star seeds, the things that give us challenges in our daily lives. And I am here to provide the liberated perspective. Well, to do the best of my abilities anyway, to provide the liberated perspective. So if you want to be a part of this conversation, I invite you to check out the Rise of the Multidimensional Human Facebook group. This is where we cultivate the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about, and there's lots of other really great conversations to be had in that group. It truly is a community like no other online. And another way to contribute is to go to the Multidimensional Human on Telegram, and that is also sometimes where I get some inspiration. So you're welcome to check those two places out. Now, there's two ways to listen to this live stream. You can be on Facebook with us on the Rise of the Multidimensional Human group, or you can be on our YouTube channel, which is Lightbody Academy. Welcome, everybody. Hello, dear sister Nancy and Polly. Welcome, guys. Yeah, as you join in, go ahead and say hi. Let me know you're here. It's always good to know I have my peeps are around. When I say my peeps, I mean people who totally vibe, where we vibe together in the different kinds of ways we discuss stuff. We don't necessarily always agree, but that is okay because we know we are connected and we're all here for a similar purpose. So we show up in order to provide support, this kind of support that we uniquely provide. Okay, so let me go ahead and jump right into the topics. Mega stuff going on, right? We had the eclipses. We had the whole Saturn-Uranus conjunction. We had the solstice, and now we have a full moon conjunct those same star systems that both the conjunction, the Saturn-Uranus conjunction was on those points, the solstice points, and now we have the moon hitting those exact same star systems. What star systems am I talking about? Antares and Aldebaran. Those are two star systems that are exactly opposite each other in the astrological charts. And there's two other major gateway stars, and that is Regulus and Fomalhaut. So those two are contributors into this piece as well that I'm talking about. All right, so the topics are, why does digesting these new unification encodements, I'm talking about unification light codes, cause multiple realities and timelines to converge? Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that because I feel like humanity is really ready to understand this on another level, especially us in this group, because we are already in touch with our multidimensional abilities and our other, let's say, unique skill sets. Yeah. Then we have humanity awakening to their natural telepathic abilities. I got to talk about that. And then I'm going to talk about the Antares gateway, the fall of satanic reversal grids, and the liberation of human consciousness. Woohoo! Exciting stuff. These are all huge topics that have been in our awareness for a while, especially the satanic grids one and the unification codes. So normally what I do, before I dive into these topics, I do an activation where I activate the different nesting dolls of realities of all the different nesting dolls that are informing our here and now reality. And in that activation, I stay within the galactic plane. I don't ever go beyond the galactic plane, like into the cosmic arena. But this time I need to go into the cosmic arena because we need to understand, we need to feel in our bodies and resonate with what these unification codes are doing. Okay. So first I need to I need to touch on the experiences that we've been having as light workers over the past decades, depending on how long you've been awake to this part of yourself, right? So one of the major problems, there's many problems in the light worker world, but one of the major problems in the light worker world is that we feel that we need to unify with other light workers, but when you get a bunch of light workers together, what happens? Competition. Light workers feel threatened by another light worker, and then all of a sudden there's conflict going on within that circle rather than unification, even though we all feel the call for unification. Why does stuff like this happen? We should know better, shouldn't we? Right. So, and the reason why this is happening, in my perspective, is that there's these subconscious undertones that are that have been in place in our here and now reality, that takes those unification codes, flips them and reverses them. So when we are digesting those codes, we have to, and we're not aware of it, we have to harmonize those reversals, undo those reflections, you see? So, and that has been something that's not been in the awareness of a lot of light workers, because a lot of light workers do their work out of a deep belief system that they have, rather than being in fully the here and now moment and just going with whatever presents. Okay. So this is something that has been significantly hindered within the consciousness of humanity. And this manifests in many different ways. You know, people not supporting each other, people not showing up for each other, people judging other people for not showing up, or people, you know what I mean? We stay in judgment when people fail us, or when people disappoint us and don't show up in the way that we think they should, because they're a light worker, or because they're a healer, or because they're a starseed or a way shower, you see? So these distortions affect everybody, absolutely. Okay, without a doubt. This is in my perspective. So you just feel where you are in relationship to that, and then I'll go ahead and move forward with our activation process. I'm going to do a lot of drawing and erasing today, because there's a lot of graphics to look at, and a lot of images to plant and to seed within the subconscious. All right, so starting with the galactic plane, because that's usually where we're at, right? This is where we start. That's our baseline. Everything in our here and now experience is a result of these different layers of consciousness, and these nesting dolls of consciousness. And as a human, up until very recently, as in just a few days ago, as a human, everybody had access of who they are up to the galactic mind, up to the galactic plane. As of a few days ago, now all of humanity has access beyond that, which is really exciting, because this is actually where those reversal codes were originally being held together in the dream time, was on these more quantum levels. So all on those quantum levels, this has been released. So that means humanity is, as it percolates through these nesting dolls, humanity is going to wake up on a 3D level to all these other levels of existence. Isn't that exciting? All right, so we have that outer nesting doll, the Mother of God, the Madre de Dios, the Kuan Yin, a well of infinite compassion. This is the galactic mind. This is the Milky Way galaxy, and she is the outer nesting doll of the galactic plane. I'll be jumping into the cosmic arena in a minute, so we're going to cruise through this really quickly so I can go into those other levels. Okay, now when I originally learned the teachings of the galactic plane and in the dimensions and how they nested together, the black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, was this is backwards, was what 9D was all about. Okay, no, this is not a swastika. This is a sacred symbol representing the center of the Milky Way galaxy, in this case, the black hole. Now, you'll also see this exact same symbol drawn out like this, okay, being vertical. Okay, the angle of these images is significant to the degree the way you're tuning into this, to this portal, to this level of consciousness. Okay. Now, in the beginning, it started off as a black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And as my own awareness, as my own encodements were digested, and I woke up to more and more and more, the black hole turned into the white hole. And now, after this last gateway that just happened, it's no longer white and black hole, it's unified. Hence why these unification codes are coming in the level that they're coming. Okay. So we have the galactic plane, the infinite well of compassion of Kuan Yin. This is how I feel her. This is that well of compassion for all beings, for all life. And of course, we have a teaching about a bodhisattva named Kuan Yin on this planet. All right. And then within that nesting doll of the galactic plane, we have the all that is consciousness. This is the all that is presence that many people refer to as God, okay, and prime creator. They are not the same, but this is how a lot of humans, because of our limited understanding, we didn't get past the galactic plane, many of us. This is, we would call the all that is prime creator. Prime creator is actually way out here more, okay, but this is this all that is isness. All of you know it's within the fabric of your being. When you can touch that all that is isness, this is where you can see how everything is one. Everything is one expression, individuated like this. So there's this profound sense of oneness that happens with this one. The nesting doll after that is one from within that oneness. There's an aspect you've decided to separate out. You decided to experience an individuation. That individuation could have happened out of beauty, or the individuation could have been spurned out of pain. And anything in between. Okay. So for some people, they have a victim story to their initial moment of separation, and other people have more of a valiant hero story associated with the moment of their individuation. And of course, there's a whole spectrum. So that individuation is the core frequency of you. That individuation is that core frequency that is the essence of what you're here to express. So when I say here, I mean a lot more than just the here and now. I mean within this galaxy, traveling through the galaxy. Okay, that's what I mean. And this is also maybe equated to what people understand as their soul song. Okay, and that soul song, that frequency, that sound, is the organizing force for your light body. As we know through the science of cymatics, that sound creates shape and form. So that soul song creates your light body. And that light body has the map of your unfoldment within this Milky Way galaxy. And it's the map of your unfoldment through the polarity game. Okay? So by this light body is beyond time and space. It's holding the pattern of the unfoldment of how your consciousness is going to unfold up until the here and now moment. Okay, so everything that's happening in the here and now moment has already been organized by this light body force. Okay, and that light body decides, within that light body holds the structure of all the different lifetimes and parallel realities, all the different things you're going to experience in your soul's journey. This is also the place where the Akasha comes in, where you have records of what your soul's journey has been. This is also where time starts to come into play in our experience. Now, when in the Akashic level, time is not as linear thing, so it just kind of keeps going. It's infinite. But the next layer down, when you go in of individuation, time becomes a linear thing where everything has a beginning, middle, and end. But on the Akasha, nothing ever ends. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Okay, and when we go into the Akasha, when we engage, we maybe untangle some things in this side that maybe looks like a parallel lifetime. And when we undo the entanglement of energy of that parallel lifetime, that life force comes to us in the here and now and enhances our life force. Same thing with going into the Akasha and unraveling what we perceive as past life experiences. Okay, we unravel it there because of the way time works in the 5D in the Akasha. We unravel it there. Seems like something that was in the past, and then in the here and now, that life force comes back to us, and we are no longer expressing that pattern that was that where that initial entanglement happened. So this is significant because there's something called quantum time. Quantum time is when something has to when there is a force in organizing reality that has to unfold. Now, in our perceptions, we see past lives, parallel lives, whatever, when we go into the Akasha, but in reality, it's all happening simultaneously. It's all happening at the same time. So you can actually erase things from your light body level and completely erase certain timelines of existences, either in past life experiences or parallel reality experiences. Okay, so this is the exciting stuff, because now all of humanity is going to be able to perceive this level of our being. That those blinders that have been in place, the things that have anchored those blinders, those anchor points are done. They're gone. So now it's just a matter of how it's going to percolate through these realities. So we're going to wake up to the abuse and the manipulation of the 5D fields, the abuse and manipulation of the soul's journey. Okay, we're going to wake up to the ways our belief systems have actually perpetuated our fragmentation. Okay, I'm talking about everyday human beings are going to be able to understand this in the coming years, in the coming age. This is exciting stuff. All right. And then the next layer after that is your individuation. Your individuation is that who you are in the here and now. So you are like, my name is Christina. I was born in North Carolina. I grew up in the military. I got married on this date. I had these kids. I did this as a profession. I did that. That's my 4D story of who I think I am. Now, there's much more going on with the unfoldment of my life because of all these nesting dolls, but the who I think I am story is pretty much the energy of that 4D. It's the ideas of who I think I am. It's the beliefs that I've cultivated. It's the experiences that have validated my beliefs that create conclusions about reality. Okay, all of that is within the 4D. So when we come to conclusions about things, that is a very powerful force, because we are convinced that's the way it is, because we have our experiences to reinforce it. Yes, but we don't realize, but it's actually our conclusions that are creating those experiences that enforce it. Okay, so the 4D field is a really, really powerful force in our here and now reality, and we are taught backwards about what it is and how to work with it. So belief systems of good, bad, right, or wrong, heaven, hell, negative, positive, light and dark, good and evil, all of those, and I'm going to say this straight up, are lies to keep us chasing our tails from waking up to the bigger picture of who we are. Okay, and the lie just gets more sophisticated the more you wake up. That's just how it is. This is why once you wake up out of the linear idea of this is your only life and that's it, and then after you die, you sit at the right hand of God. Once you wake up out of that and recognize, oh, I do have many lifetimes, right? Now, then the lie has to shift to meet you in your level of perception. And now that level of perception is going to show you a partial of reality. And you're going to wake up and realize, oh, we're manipulated. We're lied to. We have no idea who we are. Okay, that's the truth part. But then the lies get filtered in with the truth. And that next step where the lie is that we live on a prison planet. We are controlled by controllers that are beyond anything we can ever touch. Right? It's out of our control, right? Those are the lies woven into the truth. So this is why the waking up game is so confusing and so frustrating. And a lot of people just completely lose it and want to check out or, go towards addiction or whatever that mechanism is because this piece is so sophisticated. The lie is different at every level, as Hoagland once said. But now we're waking up out of all that. This is why those satanic grids and stuff had to be in place, because they were holding the lie together. They were holding all those lies together. So as we woke up, there was one sabotage after another. and this was how those things were held in place energetically in this 4D field, but then also anchored deep within our subconscious. And the way they anchor it deep within our subconscious is not only via the soul's journey, but by doing these acts underground, because the telluric realm is part of our unconscious. Okay, the telluric realm, everything that's under the crust of the earth to the core, is us in our subconscious. So, and the same thing with our bodies. Imagine our skin is the crust of the earth, and then we have our, let's say, the crystalline matrix of the core is our bones. Everything from the skin to our bones, all of this exists in our unconscious, right? Everything that's happening here is just happening. We're not aware of the cellular exchanges and anything like that. That's not in our awareness. It's all in our unconscious, or what some may call subconscious, right? So this is how they do it. And those pieces that were all the games that were happening in the underground are now have lost their underpinnings, so they don't have anything holding them together. Because before, they had mandates on these other levels to be there. Okay, so they would get permission to do something, and then they would do the exact opposite of what the permission was for, but the agreement was in place, and the powers that be had to let unfold what was going to unfold. You see what I mean? And here there is no time. Linear time doesn't happen until you get into this nesting doll. All right, I know I'm talking really fast because there's a lot to go over, because I haven't even left the galactic plane yet. All right, so we have our 4D field, right? The beliefs of who we think we are. And this is, remember, these nesting dolls are not just nesting dolls. They are permeating within each other like this, okay? So on these other levels, the underpinnings that allowed those control systems to be so are no longer there. So that means their contribution to this grid isn't there anymore, okay? So now the grid can't exist in the same way that it once existed. Okay, I'm talking fast, I know. I'll try to slow down. It's exciting. I'm so excited about what's going on right now with humanity and the planet and the different realities. Okay, so the next nesting doll is the experience of space, 3D. 3D is that experience of separation we have that these biosuits afford us. These biosuits actually create our experience of separation. As soon as we no longer are in our biosuit, we leave our biosuit and we fill the ethers. We're now back to being connected to everything again. Not that this nesting doll here doesn't exist, because it does. These nesting dolls exist in the etheric levels, okay? It's just that we are no longer separate from, we no longer have that experience of being separate from our surroundings. And then we have the telluric realm. The telluric realm, like I said, is everything under the crust of the earth, everything under your skin, the language of atoms and molecules, the language of nature spirits, language of elementals, okay? And these reversal codes existed on the elemental levels as well, and that has also been undone. The elemental realm has awoken to their original light codes. I should say original codes for life. They have awoke to that, so the reversal is no longer impacting them. And this is where that idea about Earth separating, I feel like, comes from, but I don't want to digress down that road. All right, and then we have the telluric realm, then we have the Pachamama, the whole reason why we're here, the organic, true, universal mother that we have an agreement with to be here, her, that existence, okay? This idea about coming to a prison planet, this idea of coming to a school of hard knocks, this idea of coming into the hologram, all of this, that is not the organic universal mother. That's not the original agreement that we have. Okay, just tune in and feel in your body what I'm talking about here. The organic universal mother is here to give us everything we need to unfold ourselves any way we want to unfold. Okay, so anything that we want to dream into being, she is here to equip us with that. It just so happens that, you know, some of those illusion delusion things and these other nesting dolls planted seeds that grew over many thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, and that is what's got us to this place where we're at. But this is a cosmic reset that's happening. So it's beyond, the reset that's happening is beyond this level. It's out here in the quantum levels. And I'm going to get to that. Okay. And then, of course, we have our here and now moment. Our here and now moment is our experience within these nesting dolls in the 3D, our experience in the 3D. Okay. You guys with me? I know it's exciting stuff, isn't it? All right, dear sister. Oh yeah, so dear Facebook users, I think this is plural. If you want me to see your name, you're going to have to click on that see more button in the broadcast and give StreamYard permission to show me your name, or else I'm just going to have to call you Facebook user. Yes, very exciting, isn't it? Isn't it exciting? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so this is the nest. All these nesting dolls are working together for our here and now experience. And now let me get to the cosmic arena. Exciting stuff. Exciting, exciting stuff. All right. So let's first look at the Milky Way galaxy as when she was split with the black hole, white hole. Okay, this is the event horizon, and black hole coming in, white hole coming out. Okay. So this is the black hole theory as theorized by Einstein, and others have also, took this study even further. Now this, I'm going to say it and it's going to sound crazy, but hey, this is what I'm here to do. Liberate perspective, right? Remember about all these belief systems and all these other kinds of control systems put in place to numb out our brain and blind us to the truth. Okay. So this theory right here, it's a lie and it's the truth at the same time. Now, Christina, how in the hell can that be, right? It's like this. When we are experiencing the split, when we come into the experience of polarity, we have to separate from ourselves. We have to forget a very significant part of reality in order to experience the reality. So for those of us who were in the Milky Way galaxy experiencing the black hole, right, there's another part of us in the Milky Way galaxy experiencing the white hole. All right, let that sink in for a moment. There's part of us here experiencing reality, and there's part of here experiencing a reality. Now, what would we call that? The best words that I have is an alternate reality, right? In order for this alternate reality to exist, there has to be a split. There has to be a split, right? I'm talking about on a 9D level, right? There has to be a split. Just to remind us of this model, right? But now what is happening, now what's going on, this is so crazy cool, guys, so crazy cool, is that this has come together. So now we are no longer experiencing the black hole or the white hole. The encodements are waking up inside of us for the unification. So that means that not only, it's not both, it's neither. It's now we are in wholeness of the Milky Way galaxy, and these realities, these parallel realities, are coming together into one reality in the here and now. You see what I mean? I know it's a bit mind-blowing, so just let it sink in for a moment. So now when you are looking at the 9D, the nature of 9D is changed. Remember, many chats ago, I talked about the creation waves coming out of the Milky Way galaxy, out of the center of the black hole, and there were 9. And then later on, maybe several months later, or even a year later, I think maybe in the chats, I talked about, well, now there's 18. And I suspected many more were going to start coming out of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So these unification codes are not an either or game anymore. See, our consciousness, our mental bodies had to polarize everything. Our mental bodies had to polarize everything in order to understand it. And the only way to get outside of the trap of polarization is to be able to come to a place of seeing how both realities could be so. So I'm going back to this model here. Center of the earth, the all that is universal mother consciousness. So, okay. Then we have the telluric realm. We have 3D space. And then we have the collective field with the 4D field. Then we have the frequencies of our soul's journey, the Akasha, with the frequencies, the knowing of our light body, the tones, the frequencies of our core self. We have the all that is frequencies coming in, and then we have the Milky Way consciousness coming in, and then we have a lot more. This keeps going and going and going in multiples. So it might start off, it might exponentially expand, but then it starts going all the way up into the 20s, the 70s, the 100s, stuff like this. But it doesn't matter, because in the old paradigm, how things have been up until a few days ago, everything that passed through this field right here gets polarized. It gets reversed and split. So the way so going to our mental bodies, what was going on, that unification was not going to happen because there was always a right and a wrong. And when we understand something as being so, that means we could not accept information or data or frequency that made what we came to a conclusion was so as not being so. So we would reject it as wrong. You guys feel what I mean? We would reject it as wrong. And once we do that, we can no longer unify with anybody who identifies or has an understanding that's different than our own. We would call that opposite. Right. And in these chats, what I've been saying for, quite a few years now is that the way out of this trap is to bring yourself into a place where you can allow both contrary ideas to be possible and to be so. And once you can accept both contrary ideas of being so, then you can be liberated out of this canopy. But there's one more piece there, and that is the reversal. So there's the split. Seeing both sides of the polarity as being so heals the split. Then you have to fix the reversal. And what is that reversal? Okay. The idea of other. That's the reversal. The idea of other. So when we talk about prime creator as being something other than ourselves, that is other. When we talk about anything, this being over here does all this race over here does all this, and they're that, and blah, 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 that is other. You see what I mean? So you can see how deeply ingrained these reversal codes have been impacting our consciousness and our awareness, our lives, our daily lives, right? So what's happening is that with these universal codes is that we are opening up to something inside of us that actually allows others to be completely different, even opposite, and yet see our unifications, yet see our connection. Okay. So, and I started to talk about this a few weeks ago. Our idea of unity in the past was, I was calling homogenization, everybody being of the same mind, everybody being of similar belief, everybody believing, having a similar purpose or something like this, right? And these new unification codes coming into our awareness or unfolding within our being are actually opening us up to the idea of embracing the diversity. And actually, we want people who have a very different experience and thoughts, right, than we do. And because they are so different, we appreciate them so much more, that much more. Okay, because they are opening our awareness to something very different. Now, the Sasquatch High Council gave me a download not long before I went to the Sasquatch conference at the end of May, and they were saying the whole purpose of a council right? Because reality is so vast. You have to have many perspectives and many different perspectives to start to get an idea of the bigger picture. This is what they were saying. And they were saying, and you don't want to counsel a people who all think the same way or see in similar ways. You want to counsel of people who see these things in very different ways. You want that counsel to be as diverse as possible. Then you are that much closer to being able to see the bigger picture. Okay. So that's what these unification codes are doing. They're opening us up to allowing that, to accepting that at a much deeper level. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause here because I think there's a question coming up. All right. Dear sister Joanne says, the difference between some situation not being true versus a deliberate lie fabricated for the purpose of manipulation. Now I hear you touching this subject. Okay. All right. So remember how I was saying that the lie is different at every level, right? So is the truth. The truth is different at every level. So which truth are you exactly meaning? And which lie? See, the whole idea of the manipulation is us to give up our sovereignty in exchange for this other reality, where other reality is managed for us. And we just are in reaction mode, reacting to our stimuli, rather than being the actual creators of our reality. The actual creators, purposefully creating to contribute into the larger dream, to feed the life in a bigger way, and to keep life expanding, growing. You see what I mean? It's like we are given the reality to live. That's what the control systems are all meant to do, is us to accept the reality that we're given and just deal with it. And then our creativity would be all spent on how to deal with it, versus our creativity spent on actually bringing meaningful pieces forward. And these meaningful pieces forward are things to further harmonize, further inspire, further support wisdom and growth. These light codes, so the codes of life have been reversed. So, that means the tree of life completely corrupt. It is reversed. It's the black tree of life. It's not the tree of life. It's actually the tree of anti-life, the one that's been proliferated in mystery schools in this planet. I know it's very offensive to some people, but hear me out. So what's happened is that the codes, the life codes, the codes for life on this planet were based in love, joy, and being. Okay. And those were reversed into sin, death, right? And shame. So, I'm sorry, not shame, I meant suffering. Sin, death, and suffering. They reverse that life code, which means when you tap into that frequency of life code, you have to step through death. You have to step through suffering. You see what I mean? You have to step through sin. You have to wade through that experience in order to find the joy and the life that's on the other side. But there's so many hurdles put in front of us that we spend many lifetimes decoding that. And if we have one lifetime where there's a misstep and we die in a way where we forget who we are in between lifetimes, we have to start all over again. It's crazy. All right. Joanne says, okay, thank you. Why I have tended to not accept the reality given to us. Yeah, right? Absolutely. But remember, I'm touching on these pieces because it's all falling away. It's all going away. And guys, this is where the real work begins. This is where our real reason for being here, I'm talking about as way showers, as starseeds. This is how the core of the why we're here begins. So far, it's been a dress up rehearsal. But now the big stuff is here, and we have the awareness not to get caught up in the lower levels of stuff, because we are unified on deeper levels within our subconscious, and we are now reclaiming our sovereignty as creator beings, and we can now be heavy hitters, so to speak, in the creation game of what's going on right now. So humanity needs us. Pachamama needs us. They need us, not in that because anybody's a victim, but they need us because we are here to feed life, to liberate, to be our truth. And us, by doing that, we help all life. We help all beings. So the fairy realms, the deva realms, the nature spirit realms, they were once closed off to us, in that separation process. And now for so many humans, they're coming online again. Did you guys know that there's actually something called I think it's the fairy and something species Congress, Ambassador Congress, where there's like an entire group of humans that have communications with fairies and devas and gnomes, and they get together and celebrate their connection, where, when you get a bunch of humans together who all agree about fairies existing and nature spirits existing and interacting with them, that realm is alive in the here and now experience for those humans. You see? So there are large groups of humans that are interacting with the natural world and who have woken up to these pieces. And they are going to help show the way for the others where this is a very foreign concept. Okay, I need to get back to the manipulation, the splitting of worlds, and the unification of what's going on here. All right, so this particular model, I love this model. This has been given, I learned this model from a dear starshine named Flying Rainbow Lasagna. Her name is Aurora. She has a YouTube channel if you guys want to check her out. I don't know. I love intense characters. She's one of those really intense characters. I enjoy her. She does have some adversion stuff that she's working through, but this model I thought was brilliant. And when I saw her draw this, I was like, I fell in love. I was like, I love this lady. Yes, it's very similar to my 9D model, I know. All right. So here's the deal. This is the 5D manipulation I'm diving into now in the unification. So this is a really big deal. All right. So we have the macro, the micro. Let's look at this in a more very specific to a particular kind of experience. Say, before you came into this galaxy, one of the things you wanted to experience was, you wanted to experience separation, and you wanted to experience how heartbreak could happen. Right? Say that was what your experience is. Now, the way the original intention was that you would come into this galaxy and you would have that experience. And then you would wake up and decide if you want to have it again, right? Or you would wake up with a different kind of evolution in your consciousness and choose another kind of experience to have. But with the way the splitting, the way the hijacking has taken over that 5D field, what would happen is that you would have to experience every possible way of separation and heartbreak possible within your light body. You would have to go through every single possible way it could happen. This is how you get a gazillion reiterations of the same thing. Those of you who do Akashic work know exactly what I mean. So the way the manipulation would do it was that we would have to go through every single possible outcome, every single possible way to experience that before we get to the bullseye, and then we would have that opportunity to wake up out of it. The thing is that every little reiteration that we had, because we're lied to about who we are, we would come to conclusions. And each of those conclusions would create another offshoot where we had to experience every single version possible. You guys see what I'm doing? All right. And then there was another conclusion here. And then we had to experience every single possibility that conclusion could possibly have in its potential. Okay. And so on and so on. This kept just going and going and going. This is how they've created on a soul level perception the idea that this is a prison planet, but it's not. because of this, and not, and being in forgetfulness every time this happens, it takes away our ability of takes our sovereignty away on a certain level. We still have free choice, of course, because we create these conclusions. But yeah, so this is how they've siphoned off life force energy. Another way they siphon off life force energy is by creating alternate realities and introducing the stories of those alternate realities to our reality. Okay. And a way that's done, especially in the disclosure movement, the way they do that is that they take a consciousness from this reality, they shatter that consciousness, and then they send the shattered pieces into an alternate reality. And a really great, a well-known story where they've done that is the story of the 20 backers. You guys know who the 20 backers are, and the super soldier programs and stuff like this. Those people go through an event that shatters their consciousness, and then they take pieces of those pieces, and then they put them in these alternate realities, because you can capture souls like this, and then they live out that reality, all the reiterations of it, and then they bring the shattered pieces back, reintegrate them, and re-imbue in the body. And now that soul is carrying the stories and the energy signatures and the record in the Akasha of those alternate realities. And then they share that story. And then that story resonates with people who've also been through that same process. And by resonance, they bring that alternate reality closer into this one. This is how they hijack stuff. So all of that BS, all of those shenanigans, guys, they do not have those mechanisms to their access anymore. They're done. The only reason why these were even possible was because on a light body level, there was a mirror created where you had your light body expression and then you had your shadow expression. And all of us know who have done work and growth on this planet, you had to go through your shadow expression in order to find the light. This is why shadow work had to be the way that it was, right? Yes, I know. I know, right? It's totally BS. So many of us have healed issues. So, sorry, I forgot the one point. Oh, this was a really important point. Sorry, I have to redraw this. So that gazillion reiterations that we had to experience of a particular thing. So what's happening, right? So those alternate realities that were created by conclusions, all this stuff. So what's happening, because of these unification codes, all of these alternate realities and all of these reiterations that we've experienced when our soul's journey are all now consolidating. They're all consolidating into one life stream, into one bandwidth. Okay. This is huge, because all of those reiterations, say you had a particular propensity towards heartbreak, right? All those reiterations of heartbreak are now consolidating and coming together. All those shadow experiences, all of these are all coming together into one big dot of experience. And this is that opportunity to reclaim all those lost pieces. It's easier now than ever. The really important thing for us to do is to not judge. Just stay in observation and acceptance, and stay in that galactic mind, in the bigger mind of who we are, that all that is, and accept all those pieces back home. And you can say to those parts, those dark things, those dark parts that you discover yourself, you can just simply look at them and accept them for what it is, and just say, it's never too late to come home. They'll wake up because there all those underpinnings aren't in place anymore. They'll wake up, and that consolidation will happen with exponential speed. So all those alternate realities, false timelines, all that stuff that was held in place by these underpinnings are now coming together into one reality, one timeline. Okay, so there's no alternate Earth. This Earth is not going to split into two, like those that wake up and those that don't. That's another one of those, lies woven into the truth kind of thing. There are very significant truths that we woke up to even be able to understand what that lie is about, right? And of course, because those truths woke us up so deeply to certain things, that piece right there, that about the splitting of the worlds, we would take in as, yeah, that could be a possible truth, right? So it's never just an overt blom. this is it. This is the overlay, and that's it. It's always an incremental. It's a titration, is how they would do it. And now we're waking up, but that waking up is not through titration. It's a big slam. It's a bang, right? It's not a anything gentle. Okay, so getting on to the telepathy thing. So a long time ago in this group, the banner said the onset of a global shamanic paradigm, and I realized that resonated with me big time. It resonated with me, but it was a little too soon. It's like the rest of the collective didn't quite get it. And I would say, yeah, we have lots of shaman in the world, and I would be very flippant about it, but then that would actually land pretty offensively on folks, because the practice of shamanism was something really, really valuable. And it is absolutely valuable. But what I'm saying, and here now we're finally at that time where globally we're going to wake up to a paradigm of what we call shamanic reality, interdimensional reality, multi-dimensional reality. Okay. Waking up to the dream time, waking up to our abilities to pull realities, to pull encodements through dream time, digest them in the here and now make that part of our reality that now becomes an organizing force to our here and now. Okay. All of humanity is in the process of waking up to this. We're, of course, the way showers. That's why we're here, because we're kind of like the early birds, so to speak. So this next piece about the telepathy. There's lots of forms of telepathy. So as we become more consolidated, our blind spots to all these nesting dolls of reality will melt away. Okay. So this is why some people remember Dreamtime really clearly and some people don't. It doesn't matter how psychic intuitive you are, your Dreamtime could still elude you. And it's not because, you're lacking in any kind of skill or anything like that. It's because there are blind spots that are in here that keep us from opening up to the bigger picture. So the more that all these alternate reality timelines of who you are, the more of your quantum consolidates and all of those timeline realities come together into the here and now, your psychic abilities are going to come online just naturally. Now, the Lightbody school, what we've done, it starts off with unraveling intuitive blind spots, because we all have them on some level, but then it starts going forward more into actually how to create consciously within the dream, your dream within the great dream, within, in connection with the Pachamama, in connection with the elemental realms, in connection with all these different nesting dolls of who you are. And then you start walking that path as a sovereign creator being. Right now in humanity, a lot of those paths look like being an ambassador for certain exospecies, ambassadors for certain kinds of consciousness. That's why we have Sasquatch ambassadors, we have fairy realm ambassadors, we have gnomes, we have all these humans that have cultivated a very special relationship with these different different nature beings, and those special relationships are now serving for them to be an ambassador to other beings. Now, it could be an ambassador for other human beings to the fairy realms, deva realms, whatever, or you could be an ambassador of a human being for the fairy realms, as in you creating unification of the fairy realms, deva realms in with the human realm, and you are an ambassador of bringing unity together like that. Okay. And then there's others that, of course, will be more the ambassador of introducing new humans. When I say new humans, I mean humans that are new to these realms and experiences, to these types of consciousness. Okay, so it goes in different ways. That's right now the roles that we're in. Many of us are finding us in those kinds of roles. So these light codes, these unification codes, the more they come in, the more we digest them, the more we unify with these alternate timelines and realities, the more those abilities are going to come online. They're natural to us. They're as natural as breathing. Okay. It's just the belief systems, the ideas of who we think we are, those limitations within the mental field of this 4D field were in the way. We were totally in the way. Now, if, for example, say you've come to the conclusion that you're just not a intuitive person, you just have that conclusion. Now, what I said earlier, remember what I said earlier in the chats, that your conclusions actually create the experiences. And what do? Our logical mind takes our experiences to validate our conclusions. When really what's happening, when really it's the other way, your conclusion is actually creating those experiences. Okay. So once you come to a conclusion that you're not an intuitive person, you are now actively working against your natural being trying to come forward. Now, it's going to work until it doesn't. That's just how that goes. You're going to be confused until you're not. There is a breaking point within these 4D lies. There's a breaking point that happens, and there's two forces at work that are hitting us really hard on this level and forcing us to break through. And one are the mass coronal ejections. That is having a massive impact on these lies that we tell ourselves to keep us blocked off to our true nature. And the other is the spike in the Schumann resonance. Now, I understand why people feel like the spike in the Schumann resonance is a bad thing, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. But when you are deeply interwoven with the great mother, with the great universal mother, okay, via the Pachamama, because she is the embodiment of the great universal mother, or we'll just say organic universal mother, when you are deeply in connection with that, the Schumann resonance doesn't throw you off the same way. It does not put you off kilter the same way that it does if you're not connected to that. There's a whole bunch of humans, most humans actually, are not deeply connected in with the mother. They practice belief systems that make an enemy out of the earth, right? They practice belief systems of destroying the feminine. So those are those people, subconsciously or consciously, that are in that kind of program. Those are the ones that are really getting thrown off kilter with the huge spikes that have been happening in the Schumann resonance. Okay, now the Schumann resonance is normally like 8 to 15 hertz, and it's like spiking to 120 and higher for multiple days in a row. I mean, huge unheard of spikes. And so that in conjunction with the mass coronal ejections, this is forcing us like to punch through these limitations. I mean, it's like an explosion. I have a little joke here. If you guys have ever seen this crazy movie called the Southland Tales, it's called Southland Tales. The Rock is in it, and it's a movie about the end of the fourth dimension. Now, there's a whole bunch of people from the CNL cast are in this movie, so there is a level of ridiculousness to it. But there was some brilliant moments in that movie, and the line that everybody walks away from, I think, who watches that movie, is like, is this reality? Is it going to go out as a whimper, or is it going to go out with a bang? And now I'm here to tell you it's going to go with a bang. And that's exact, because these pieces right here are going to get punched through big time. And you're going to handle it gracefully, or you're going to be tweaked out until you're not. That's just how it is. Once, like I said, once you get that connection really deeply ingrained within your being, you've peeled away the layers of your ego driver, the fight your true nature, this walk will get a lot easier, a lot more graceful. And the coming turmoil. Okay, so let's boil this down to 3D. Okay, the shenanigans that's going on is going to get worse for the next year or so. This is my prediction. You guys know I rarely ever do predictions, but this is how I'm feeling it. The powers that be, that think they still are in control on all these levels, that they're not, they're going to fight this awakening tooth and nail. Okay, tooth and nail. This is a electromagnetic frequency battle that's going on. This is why there's all that electromagnetic stuff going. People are discovering with the jab. People are getting the jab, and it's completely altering their system. And it doesn't even just alter their system; it actually impacts other people's systems that are around them. It's electromagnetics. That's why that's happening. So we get stronger in our own magnetic field, which is through compassion and love for ourselves and everything, and our connection to everything. Then we won't be as affected by these interference magnetic patterns. Everything happens through magnetics. And all the polarity fields of the different magnetics are getting reversed, because they were already reversed and distorted, and now that's getting undone, and things are getting set straight the way it was meant. The original intention was meant to be. So that means all those magnetic games are now going haywire. So my prediction is that humanity is going to go batshit, batshit crazy over the next 18 months. Remember, our brains are magnetic as well. Okay, our brainwave functions, our everything in our bodies works also with electromagnetic fields. So this is, we really need to stay focused on maintaining ourselves, maintaining our awareness, staying in the high heart, our awareness of staying connected into the Pachamama, into the Universal Mother. Okay, staying into the what we know is actually the truth. Okay, because the holographic games are about to get ramped up. And we are the ones that actually can melt those games. Those games have no effect in our field. And the more people we expose to our field, the more people who are going to benefit from our perception and from the truth that we live. Okay, so just know that. As depending on what layer you're awoke to, you're going to be awoke to a different story. This is why we cannot make anybody's story wrong. It's very important for us to practice acceptance of people in very diverse perceptions, because they're awoke on different levels than we are. Okay, you'll know when someone's awoke on the same level because your guys' understanding will have a deep resonance. But just because someone's say awoke to this level and not this level, this perception is going to give them something different than here. Don't make them wrong. Embrace them. Help them out, because they are part of the bigger picture too. You know what I mean? So this unification encodement is helping us do that, helping us accept on a much deeper level. All right, I went off on a tangent there when I was talking about the conclusions and telepathy. The other thing with conclusions is people will say, I'm not creative. Well, that's not true, because you're human. All humans are creative. That's the beauty of the human nature, is the vastness of our creativity. So that is a conclusion validated by different beliefs and experiences. So people, this is going to get punched through. So as people punch through these conclusions, these beliefs that they have about themselves, and discover that they do have abilities, that they do have awarenesses, people are going to wake up much quicker to these other levels. Okay. And we won't have to deal with the story time that happens here that keeps people shut down. Those stories just will not resonate anymore. That's what that is. They'll just stop resonating. And once it stops resonating and people accepting lies as the truth, because those telepathic perceptions are coming online. And like I said, telepathy is as easy as breathing. It is seamless. We do it all the time. We just don't even realize that we're doing it. Okay. So this is my experience of helping quite literally hundreds of people unwind intuitive blind spots around the world. And people are awake long before they realize they're awake. And this has happened time and time again. Actually, I can go into the thousands now. I can claim thousands on that, because so many people I've worked with and helping unwind these blind spots. It's astounding. We are very, very sensitive beings. We're in these biosuits that are hypersensitive. Our smell is not just our smell. Our taste is not just our taste, right? So we can smell energy. We can taste energy. I mean, how many times have you gone into a room and had smelt something and no one else has smelt it, right? Because if there's energy, there's something else you're tapping into. It just doesn't register in our brains, so we make up a story, or we dismiss it, or we rationalize it some way. So all of humanity is on this journey of awakening to telepathy, and it's happening much sooner than later. And all these encodements and all of these, the encodements coming from the cosmic realms to us, it's a full-on bridge now. So it's a matter of drinking in these encodements until you have a fertile enough soil within yourself to grow a garden, a magical garden within. Then you're going to be able to share those encodements with others. But don't worry if you have a tough time digesting it. These encodements allow consolidation and unification to happen within us. And the more that happens, the more fertile our garden will become. And once it's fertile enough, we're going to have that garden growing within us. Okay. So hang in there, be gentle with yourself, and resource. Please be sure that you are resourced as much as possible as you walk through your day. That means mentally, emotionally, intellectually, physically. Make sure you are resourcing yourself so you have the endurance And, so the suffering pattern doesn't need to be in place while you go through these shifts and these changes. Quite literally, everything that most of us believed in is going to reverse and go the other direction. And that can be painful. Well, it's painful until it's not, right? There's a point in time where that becomes liberating and delicious. And there's also a time when the unknown becomes exciting. It's something we thirst for and want versus something that we're afraid of. All right, darlings, this hour went by so fast and I talked so fast. Oh, yeah. I'm going to say sorry about that. We'll just have to listen to it a few times. I know it's just so exciting, the stuff that's happening right now. And I'm super stoked for humanity. And I just feel so blessed and honored to be in this community with you guys, to be able to talk about this in this level and share these perceptions. If you are interested in exploring Dreamtime and exploring, the acceleration of the unwinding of your blind spots and stuff like this, I encourage you to check out our website, lightbodyacademy.com. We have something called the Dreamtime Healing Project. That's where you begin right now, and that's stepping into that journey of working in the Dreamtime realms, resolving those blind spots, and becoming that master sovereign creator that you are here to be. So I definitely would love to hear from you guys. If you're interested in doing that, visit our website. And let's see, anything else? I think that's it. If this talk helped you and you think there's others that would really benefit from hearing, please like and share this video on YouTube. That's the way they can access it without becoming the group in the Rise of the Multidimensional Human group. If you want friends to come into the Rise of the Multidimensional Human group, you're welcome to invite them, but do know they have to answer all the entry questions in order to get admitted. That's a must. We do not make exceptions on that. They have to answer all 3 questions, and if they don't, they're just going to kind of sit in the buffer. We do that because we love our community. Our community is full of amazing star shines, and if answering a few questions is too much of a hassle, then showing up in your fullness is too much of a hassle for this group. And I love and respect you guys more than that. So just so you know, we do have pretty stringent, pretty strict, well, I don't know how strict answering 3 questions are. We don't care about the answers. We just care that you take the time to respond to us. That's really what that's about. So we do our best to preserve the integrity of that group. Again, that's Rise the Multidimensional Human. All right, darlings. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Happy trails. Happy trail blazing. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.